Beef Smokehouse back here with you. Let me show you what we got. We've got a, I think this is a 9-pound, 8.5 pound brisket flat. I'm going to do some chopped beef with it. I like it because this is one of the flats I could find with some fat on it. Now, I'm not going to do much of this. I will be cooking this on my Weber Kettle 22-inch. I won't do too much to the fat. I'll deal with that when I'm chopping up the beef. But what I am going to do, we're going to go ahead and start by getting some of these crackly ends off of here. These aren't going to be usable, and they're going to burn. I'm not going to be too specific with this as if I was doing a whole brisket, right? Now, I could have gotten a whole brisket. However, that's going to take too much time. I've got an event that I'm kind of cooking this for, and we're going to work on getting all this silver skin off. Now, the cook on this is going to be low and slow. So, looking at this, the fat you see is a bit hard in nature. That's why we're getting rid of it. I'm going to get rid as much as possible. Again, this trim is no different than any other brisket trim. It's just a flat. I've got some thin edges. Got to get rid of them. They're going to burn. The purpose of doing this is so that I can have as much usable meat as possible, right? Even when we're doing a whole brisket, it's all about yield. All right, get some of this harder fat off of there. And I can clean this side up because that other side, this side, has enough legit fat on it. I won't do too much to this. I'll get some of this other stuff off of here. I like the way this is. It still has a portion of the point on here. This is a, if I didn't mention already, this is a choice grade. Not my first choice. It was what was available to me today during my lunch break. Just going to clean it up a little. I get better results when I let my briskets sit overnight in the fridge with the seasonings on them, and you can call that a dry brine. All right. The bark for me sets up a bit better. So maybe I'm being a bit too specific because this is going to be chopped or pulled beef, but nobody wants to be chewing on. A lot of this stuff is stringy. All right. So this will be cooking fat side up. Just want to get this bottom side. I don't want to have to go through this with a fine-tooth comb when I'm making my chopped beef. I actually prefer that fat that's on top there to stay with my to stay inside of the chopped beef. That way we have a juicier product. Other than that, looking good. Not gonna be too big of a stickler with this. It is getting chopped up. Alright, a lot of this can stay on. Let's try to work on this side. See some of this stringy stuff? It's coming off. I'm not gonna do too much to this fat cap. Because this is a flat, what I don't want to do is cook it and it dries out. That fat's gonna help be an additional buffer for me. So if it's too thin, like some of this, I'm going to get rid of. Some of this stringiness got to come off. Let's try to get some shape on this. Right now the shape's a little wonky. If this is like a 8.5 pound flat, just imagine what the entire brisket looks like. This is probably a 15 to 20 pound brisket. I'm glad I didn't get that. I'll be up cooking that thing all night. Alright, let's see. I like the fat. I'm not going to do too much. Maybe we can take some of this off. Gouge it. Alright, that's about all we're going to do to it. Now we're going to get a nice shape going. Again, all my brisket videos, you'll hear me say squares don't do well in any smoker, really. This is going on my Weber Kettle. I don't have to be too much of a stickler for shape, but we already kind of got a circular type shape going. We're going to continue that on. Plus we have this portion of our flat is thin, so we're going to maybe do something like this. Maybe something like that. This meat won't be going to waste. Next time I make sausage or something, or I'll find something to do with it. But, you know, I've watched a few other videos, you know, people making briskets, and there seems to be a common theme where, you know, because you don't do something like somebody else, then that person making that video likes to talk a lot of crap. There's a lot of ways to make a brisket. I don't see the point in wanting everyone to make it like you make it. I would say there are some musts when cooking, but other than that, you do what you like. I also don't see the need to down talk another YouTuber because they did something I disagreed with. When it's my turn to make my brisket, I just make it the way I want. But there seems to be a lot of that going on. And that really, you know, if I'm watching a video like that, as soon as I hear something like that, I cut the video off. I turn to something else. But there's more than one way to skin a cat, if you will. The way I'm doing this flat is really going to be Central Texas style, if that's what you want to call it, because of the seasonings I'm using. But much more than that, we're not going to make this too hard. I do want to make sure I shape this right. So, I mean, there are some channels here on the YouTube that do not shape. They like the fat. They'll go through, get the hard fat off and leave the majority of the fat on. What I find is that if I was to do that, I'll be trimming that fat off every slice. I don't want to do that. So that's why I get a nice trim. The trim absolutely helps with a nice finished product as well. But it's all about yield. That's, I mean, even if you are doing a backyard brisket, it's still about yield. Still about maximizing the portion size that I get so I can serve whoever I'm serving. I like the way that's looking. Let's see. And I can fiddle with this all night. I'm not. This is going to be about it. I like the shape. It looks like an actual full pack of brisket. It is not. Again, this is a flat. It's got a small point portion on here. We're going to rock with it. I get rid of some of these edges. That's how we're going to roll. Let me get my seasonings together. I'm going to show you what I'm using, and then I'll be back. Actually, see, the more I talk, the more I find something that I shouldn't let slide. If I already done too much, we're going to leave it like that. And again, some of the stringiness that's got to come off. We're going to rock with it like that, guys. I like the way that's looking. Alright. Just want to make sure my shape is good. You guys have seen some of the other briskets on my channel. Some of the reasons I've got the products that I have when I do a brisket is because of that shaping. Now, some people might say, well, that's more of a competition trim. That might be true. But I've got people who eat this who don't like chewing on large globules of fat. So that's why I trim the way I do. But because this is a flat, and again, you got a portion of the point here, it is absolutely important that I leave fat on this. I don't want this flat to dry out. And then what I can do is when I'm making my chopped beef, then I'll go through and pull some of that fat off. Inherently, some of that fat's going to get chopped up with the beef, and that's what renders a juicier product. Alright, we're going to stop right there. I'm going to freeze you guys, and then I'll be back. Alright, we back. So this is going to be my top side, aka presentation side. We're going flipping it over, and this is the side we will season up first. Today I'm going on with some sriracha. This is what I had, and it was the closest in the fridge. That's what I'm going on. I've used this before, not an issue with it. We're using it as a binder. Nothing more, nothing less. We don't want too much. We don't want that seasoning clumping up. Alright, we're gonna make sure it smells awesome. Get that rubbed in. We're gonna get it on the other side. Real easy. Nothing I do here tonight you can't do on your own, guys, even if this is your first time. One of my favorite guys in barbecue, you guys know, I don't have to mention his name, says one of the ways to make good brisket is to make bad brisket. I've certainly had my share of bad briskets. Not everything I cook for me comes out perfect, but that's, you know, the ex-military coming out in me. I've got a higher standard set for myself than other people, so even if other people tell me that is delicious, I'm like, could have been better. That's just the way I am. Military kind of reinforced that about me, and that's the way I remain. Now, we're going to go on. Again, I've got some Morton's Kosher Salt. A lot of the stores here don't carry diamond crystal. So this, I'm going with what I've got access to. And this is what I use 9 times out of 10, no problem. I have grounded this down before without an issue. Looks like a lot of salt because it is. This is still a big piece of meat, guys. That binder's doing its job. Meat is still pretty cold, still easy to trim. Get these edges. I got another favorite guy on YouTube that I watch. He says, don't forget those edges. It's a rookie mistake. It's a rookie mistake. Get the edges. But I do know that there are actually some barbecue places here in Texas. They don't actually season the edges. I saw that and I thought that was interesting. But this is black pepper. I've got two different cuts of black pepper going on. Alright. This side. Alright. It's all in the good name of building some bark. Alright. Going with the actual 16 mesh. I'm running out of it. This is why I substituted with another cut of pepper. Okay. Granulated garlic. That's it for that. And then that's going to be it for this side. We're going to pat it in. I'm going to flip it over and get the other side. You guys stay here with me. I am working on my editing skills. So what I want to do is get more video that I can cut a lot of stuff out, move through it, make a more cohesive product in an effort for me to get better. So this is a journey. I know I've already got 60 or so videos up, but it's definitely been a journey. Now I'm liking it so far. I like the support. I definitely like the comments I get, good, bad, or indifferent. They all help me to get better. Again, that's that ex-military coming out of me, guys. So we hit it with the kosher salt. Done with that. Black pepper. This is a smaller cut, and I'm going to reinforce this with the 16 mesh. Thought I was going to run out, that's why I'm doing it this way. But this is actually one of my favorite brands of pepper. Badia, or however you say it. One of my favorite brands of pepper. Seems to work out for cooking on a stove as well as great for barbecue. I've seen others on YouTube use this as well. Now coming back through with the 16 mesh. That was a lot. My bad. Alright. Now, I won't do any granulated garlic on this side because I'm going to cap it off with some seasoned salt. And this pretty much has everything under the sun in it. Alright, that's going to be about it. That's about it, guys. I'm going to let this sit out here for the next 15, 20, max 30 minutes. I'm going to get it on a wire sheet, a wire cookie sheet, put it on a tray. This is going into my fridge. It'll sit in there until tomorrow afternoon when I get home. I find that I get a better bark, a better overall brisket, better product when I do things this way. I'm a creature of habit. Again, that's that ex-military coming out of me. So the things that I find that I like, I tend to do. If something else works for you, by all means, use it. Again, there's no one way to cook a brisket. You guys have heard me say before, there are some absolutes, there are some musts, right? And we'll get into that during this cook. Stay tuned. I appreciate your support. If you haven't done so, please comment, share, like, and subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. What's up, y'all? It's Friday afternoon, just got off. I pulled the brisket out of the fridge. It's been setting at room temperature. And again, like I told you guys, I find that I get better results when I do that overnight dry brine. Again, I went on with seasoned salt, kosher salt, black pepper. One side I did garlic powder. Let's see where we're at. I literally just put it on. Let's see what we got. Alright, as you can see, we got a piece of hickory on there smoking away. Hickory. I've got royal oak lump and briquettes. I've got water in my trough, nothing fancy. And then I got this beautiful brisket flat. We're gonna let it ride for the next 3-4 hours. I went with water because this is a flat. It does have the section of the point left on there, but for the most part, it's majority flat. Alright. You see that hickory smoking away? I'll be replacing the hickory every now and again once I see the smoking stop for the first few hours. This meat is still pretty cold. It is definitely wet. You can see that. This is the prime time in which it's going to smoke, intake that smoke that we're going to put on it. And this is also going to help us to build a beautiful bark. You can see that hickory taking off again because I got that the top off. We've got some winds here in my side of Texas. We're gonna let this roll. Again, simple cook, easy cook, nothing too in detail. Stay tuned. All right, we are back and we're about 3 hours in. We're by no means anywhere done. I'm going to see what we're looking like. My bark is coming along, however, on this side here, the side close to the fire, it's browning a bit faster than everything else. I'm going to go ahead and give this brisket a twist, and since my seasoning is set, we can go ahead and start spritzing. Just like that. Give it just like that. And now we're going to give it a good spritz. Shut her back down. Keep cooking. Smells actually pretty good. I've got my spritz is 50-50 water and apple cider vinegar. I'll be spritzing probably about every hour. Again, this is a flat. This is not a whole pack of brisket. I want to get them edges. I want to promote some even cooking. That's one of the main reasons for spritzing. I'm sorry, for turning that brisket. And we're going to make sure she's moist. We're still in the early hours. I still wanted to pick up some more of this hickory smoke that I've got in here. I might go in and toss on a piece of post oak when everything is said and done. But other than that, we're going to let her ride. I've got my actual vent over the meat, not over the fire. I want to create a draft. We know that draft is happening because this pit, unlike my other pit over there, doesn't have any leaks. So we see the draft being created because now that smoke is coming over the meat, then out the vent. That's what we want. Stay tuned. This is the tallow we'll be using today. Right now we're at about hour number 11, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap, get it back on for another few hours, and we should be pretty good. I like what I'm feeling. I like what I've seen. This is going to help make this paper a bit more pliable. Put it down. Let me go get the brisket. This is what she looks like. Bit of pooling going on here. That's fine. Get some of this tallow out. That tallow is going to help some of these crunchy areas on the bark of this brisket soften up. It's one of the reasons that we use it. Now, on this Weber Kettle, we are cooking a bit closer to the fire than I would be on my stick burner per se. One of the uses of the beef tallow or brisket fat, beef fat. We got a nice little pillow going, and we're gonna keep it on. This fat side up. And then with all this excess, turn it right here. Now this is going to act as a cushion for the bottom of our brisket. Now I've never had any issues on the Weber Kettle with my bottom getting crispy. So other than that, that's what we're looking like. I'll be back. YouTube, we back. Here's the brisket that I'm going to use for chopped beef. Remember, this was about an 8 to 9 pound flat. Had a piece of the point section left on. In all honesty, I did take this off in my last hour and a half. This would have been setting in my oven. BTUs or BTUs. It was not going to intake any other smoke. Alright, so this is going to sit out at room temperature for the next 30 minutes to an hour. Then I'm going to proceed to chop this up. Show you what I do to make chopped beef. I typically use everything. Now if I find a big globule of fat, I will pull that out of there. But for the most part, because this is a flat, I usually leave that that fat in. One of the other things I'm going to use, so I'll have a bit of the chopped beef. Some of it will be sauced. This is one of my favorites. Can you see that? I'll cut it with a bit of ACV. But other than that, yeah, real easy cook. I didn't get much sleep. You know, I got about 3, 4, maybe 5 hours of sleep. Was getting up back and forth. Worst thing I did not want to happen to me was that my fire went out. All right, even on the Weber 22-inch kettle. Let's recap what we did, guys. I bought a 9 pound flat. I think it was like 8.5 pounds flat. Probably seeing how long this took. Probably should just went ahead and got a whole brisket, a pack of brisket. I seasoned this down. We trimmed it. I showed you how I shape and trimmed it. I then seasoned it with kosher salt, 2 different cuts of black pepper, seasoned salt, and garlic powder, which you can actually smell here right now. It smells delicious. I then let this sit and dry brine in my fridge overnight uncovered. I get better results that way, I feel. Then this went on to my Weber Kettle 22-inch using royaloakcharcoal and briquettes with hickory chunks. First 6 hours I pretty much placed hickory chunks under the charcoal as well as on top of the hotspot. And here's my results. It is absolutely necessary. Now, I could wrap this in saran wrap to make sure that it's absolutely fall apart tender. I don't want to mess the bark up. I treat this just like I would a pork butt. We create that bark, so once you shred it or you chop it, however you're going to treat it to serve, you want everybody getting bits and pieces of that bark throughout. So that's what we're going to do. This is going to sit here. I'm going to go clean myself up, get ready for my event. And then we're going to go from there. Stay tuned. Alright, we're back. Let's go ahead and cut this thing up so I can go ahead and get on the road. First, let's see. I know the grains are running like this. For a flat, it's looking pretty good. Edge is a little dry. That's to be expected. Falls right apart. Tastes pretty good. That fat is perfectly rendered. Again, that's not what this video is about though, so we're gonna go ahead and get this in half, make cutting it up easier. It's in there, still pretty hot. I want it to be that way. I'm going to put it in a crock pot. We're going to start by then after this, I'm just going to start chopping this up. Yeah, I'm not going to pull any of that bark or any of that fat out. Like the unctuousness that it gives to this. You can see juices moving through it. Could have waited, however, I'm going to add some juices back into this. Those juices that was in that foil has already been in the crock pot. We're going to start chopping this up. I don't take too much out of mine. Point is to make sure that it's moist. You see the juices coming out. That fat is rendered. Here's some of that fat here. I'll leave it all in there. I was debating resting this a bit longer. However, I don't have that much time, guys. So we make sure we get that bark all in there. You want a piece of that bark in each bite. Can't go wrong. I'm gonna eat this here, Charlotte. Save a piece for my dog. A few more chops, and I'm gonna get this in my crock pot. Stay tuned. I'm gonna go ahead and chop up the rest of this half of this brisket. I'll bring you guys back here shortly. Alright, we back. Here's the finished product. I'm gonna show you how I'm going to finish this off. We're gonna go in some of my favorite barbecue sauce. Real easy recipe, guys. And then we're going to cut that with some apple cider vinegar, and that's going to be it. That's it. Let me get a good mix on this. Get in here and give it a good mix. I've already got people calling me. And this is good if you want to eat this alone, stand alone. I've seen people put it on a bun, on a piece of white bread. There you have it, guys. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't done so, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week with another banger. Thanks for your support.